How's it going, guys? This week we have another Grandmaster guide video. This week it is Birthplace of the Vile. Now this Grandmaster can be challenging in certain parts, but overall isn't too bad once you get it down to a science and you learn how some of the ads spawn, where to rotate, and all that good stuff. We'll be going over that in this video. So of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll have a quick word from our sponsors and we'll get right into the previous Grandmaster guides. We're going to go over the loadouts first. And for me, I ran the Vortex Nova Bomb with Controverse Holes. This was the build video I made this past weekend on my channel. I'll link it down in the description. For weapons, I ran my Lodbrok C Auto Rifle for Overload Champions. I ran my Truth Teller Grenade Launcher for Unstoppables. And I ran Gallahorn as my heavy because, to be completely honest, when putting this loadout together, I really didn't want to use a linear again, so I just threw on Gallahorn. And it was amazing. I loved using Gallahorn for this. It was probably the best option I could have run aside from just using a linear, which honestly, rocket launchers are so very good still. And honestly, people should probably use them more for Grandmasters because they just deal out a lot of damage, and most of the time you're going to put tracking on it, so you're going to hit your target 9 times out of 10. But either way, rockets were amazing to use here, especially Gallahorn. For mods, I ran Bountiful Wells, Elemental Ordnance, Font of Wisdom, Seeking Wells, Well of Tenacity. All of those fed into my build. I also ran Lord Kelvin's Basilisk, as this was a grenade build, and it helped me deal with those Overload champions very easily. I highly recommend running Lord Kelvin's Basilisk, especially if you're running this particular Void Warlock build. First teammate we're going to look at is a Silence and Squall Hunter with Aeon Swifts. Now, Aeons are an amazing exotic for any of the classes that you want to run because heavy ammo economy inside Destiny is not always the best, even with finders and scavengers and all that good stuff. It honestly makes me miss the days of ammo synths from Destiny 1. But we don't have those. So Aeons allows us to get that heavy ammo to deal with champions and bosses pretty much whenever we want. As long as your friendly gets the finish, they will generate heavy ammo for you and your teammate, and then you can just throw that heavy wherever you need to throw it. For weapons, they ran Prolonged Engagement, the Stasis SMG from Strikes for Overload champions. They ran Empty Vessel, the grenade launcher you can get from Strikes for Unstoppable champions. And they ran Hothead because I was running Gallahorn. Gallahorn gives other rockets Wolfpack rounds, so we were using this in combination with my Gallahorn just to deal extra damage and potentially get rid of ads. Again, ton of heavy ammo, just throwing rockets wherever we needed to throw them. As for mods, he ran Elemental Time Dilation, Elemental Shards, Well of Restoration, Low Entropy Conductor, so his melees could stun those unstoppable champions, and he also ran Lucent Finisher. Lucent Finisher in combination with our Aeons exotics will make us 2 bricks of heavy ammo, meaning we have double the ammo, double the fun. You can literally throw your heavy wherever you need to throw it. And in my case, and my friendly's case, rockets. Amazing to deal with ads as well as champions and the boss. Highly recommend running rockets for this, but of course you can still run linears and whatever you wish to really run for your heavy options. And my final teammate ran Ward of Dawn Titan with Heart of Inmost Light. This was just an amazing choice to have. Bubble, it's not always the best in in-game content, but it can save your life nonetheless, especially when going for reses or trying to make little safe pockets of safety or cover, especially in the boss room of this particular strike, which we're going to go over that when we get to that particular section. For weapons, he ran Pard in Our Dust, the grenade launcher from the Dares of Eternity to deal with unstoppable champions, Doom of Chelchis, the scout rifle from King's Fall to deal with overloads, and the Taipan linear fusion rifle as his heavy. Again, me and my friendly were running rockets. He was running Taipan. Taipan still did amazing work in this particular Grandmaster. It's Void Burn. Linears still do an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage to anything that it looks at. So again, you can use whatever you want for heavies. For mods, they run Elemental Ordnance, Firepower, Elemental Charge, Weaken Clear, so we can spread a little bit of weakness everywhere to deal with enemies a little quicker, and like I was running Lord Kelvin's Basilisk just to help deal with those Overload champions. Now, with the loadouts gone over, we can now finally begin the guide section of this video. Once we load in, like with most of our strikes, we're going to hop on our Sparrow and actually drive to the beginning of the strike. Not a lot of strikes just drop you into the heat of it. I'm pretty sure it's like Scarlet Keep and maybe like 1 or 2 more that actually do it. But for this one, we need to hop on our Sparrows and drive to the actual start of this particular strike. Now, it drops you into a patrol zone and there can be enemies enemies here, so keep that in mind. There will be an Abomination and a bunch of other Scorn. They will easily destroy you as they do Grandmaster damage. On the flip side, though, since it is a patrol zone, you could also easily get a public event banner flag, which will give you your super for the first part of this Grandmaster, which could make it a lot easier. Instead of having to just throw your grenades out and use your weapons, you can just throw supers all willy-nilly and have everything destroyed before you even should have gotten your super because of a public event banner flag. But regardless of all that, once you make your way to the beginning of this strike, there is going to be a ton of Scorn rushing you. I believe it's going to be the Ravengers with their little swingy things, an Overload champion that is also going to push you, take out them, push up a little more, and there's going to be another wave of these Ravengers and another Overload champion. Take them out as well, push down the little cliff ledge, hallway, walkway, whatever you want to call it, and you will see a bunch of Scorn spawning with a boss and an unstoppable champion. We're not even 5 minutes into this strike, and you already have 3 champions you have to deal with. There are a lot of champions in this strike. Deal with the unstoppable champion and the boss while also avoiding the void crossbow Scorn that are in the back, because they will one-shot you. I got one-shot here twice, I believe. I'm not going to show you that because why would I sully my name like that? But either way, I got sniped twice here. They hurt really bad. Be mindful of that. Once you defeat the boss, the unstoppable champion, and the handful of Scorn snipers, the door is going to open for you and you're going to walk into the first plate room that we're going to have to deal with. Standing on the plate in the center of this room is going to make ads spawn. There are going to be Screebs and more Scorn snipers. The best thing that I found for dealing with this room was to stand on the plate, back up to the stairs so that this way you have a nice little head glitch and you have a nice little safe space to deal with, and just start dealing with the ads as they come towards you. Once you feel it is safe to go back out there, go back out again, repeat the process, and then you will be able to move past this room. The other thing you can do is just stand on the plate until it finishes and risk your entire life. Doesn't matter to me. Both of those ways will easily get this room completed. And once it is completed, you're then going to walk up a flight of stairs into a big room that is just a giant open space. It kind of looks like a cavern. As soon as you walk through the door, there's going to be a bunch of Scorn in front of you. Deal with them. Deal with the Scorn on the left on the ledge. Work your way across to the side where there is an Overload and an unstoppable champion. Deal with both of them. Door will open. Keep walking until you get to an outside looking area with stairs. You're going to go to the left, go up the stairs, more Scorn, of course, and there's going to be an Overload champion in here. Now this Overload champion, he's a bit fickle. Sometimes he can spawn on the left on like that little platform raised ledge thingy. I don't even know what to call it, but he can spawn up there or he can spawn in the middle. Deal with him, deal with the other chieftains that are in this room, and then we're going to clear the corruption from this little totem thing. Once that happens, a portal is going to open. You're going to jump through, and this first portal area is going to be just a long hallway with a bunch of Scorn and snipers with an Overload champion at the end. Push through it. Deal with the Overload champion. Now here's something cool about this room. Because the boss sends you back here on his first chunk of health being taken away from him, you will be sent back to this exact room. So, if you're friendly with Aeons or Lucent Finisher finishes this Overload champion, and you don't need the ammo, when you come back in here for the boss fight, the ammo will still be on the ground. I did not know this until we reached the second portal room. My friendly had finished the Overload champion previously. I still had Purple Brick just sitting there where the other Overload would then spawn. It was great. Always had ammo. Always had rockets to throw at things. But when you finish that Overload champion, you're going to jump through another portal. It's going to bring you to another part of this particular strike, and you're going to walk until you get to a big open room. 2 unstoppable champions are going to spawn. Take care of them, and there you're going to deal with 2 of these plates like we dealt in that first area. There's a lot more cover in this room, so you don't have to do the hop on, hop off technique. Just be mindful of the enemies, take care of them, and move on. Once you move on, you're going to move into another room with an unstoppable champion and another one of those corruption totems. Defeat the champion and the ads, clear the corruption totem, and then you're going to be brought into another just absolutely big open room. There's going to be a path on the left and a path on the right. Whatever path you want to take, just take it with your teammates. There's no reason to fight both sides of ads separately. Just go to the left or go to the right. Just pick your poison, take the same path, get to the end, deal with the Overload Champion, take the portal back through, keep walking, and then you're going to be met with 2 more Overload Champions. You're going to walk into this room, bunch of ads are going to spawn, there's going to be one in the back left, one in the back right. Deal with them appropriately, get finishers if you need to finish. Upon completing that room, we are then going to go outside to a big old bridge with 2 bosses and 2 unstoppable champions and just an absolute massive amount of just regular scoring you're going to have to deal with. Push forward, dealing with the ads and the bosses, get the finishers off on those unstoppable champions, and then we are finally on to the boss room. The boss room, to me, for this strike is honestly the hardest part about this strike. There really isn't a lot of cover. The boss can teleport, he can spawn those invincibility totems, and there are just a bunch of ads that spawn with a bunch of different champions. So, when you first get into this boss room, you're going to clear the corruption off the totem in the middle. The boss is going to spawn in the center, but ignore him at first, because the ads that he spawns with him are going to include an Overload Champion. So, what I did was I charged my Vortex Grenade, threw it down, dealt with the ads and the Overload Champion at the same time, started working on the boss. Now, while you're damaging the boss, more ads are going to spawn, including more champions. Be mindful, every time you hear the Scorn spawning sound effect that it makes, look down at the bottom corner of your screen and see if it says a champion has spawned. Look for the champion, deal with the champion, fight the boss. Like I said earlier, once you get that boss down to that first third gone, he's going to teleport you back to that hallway room. Same thing as before, work down it, deal with that Overload Champion. If you have heavy ammo here previously, it will still be here. Once you defeat the Overload Champion, you're going to jump back through the portal and repeat the process in the boss room. You're going to deal with the ads that spawn. You're going to damage the boss down to his last third. You're then going to teleport back to that big open room. Same rules apply. Pick the same side and go there. Also, the same thing applies. If you had heavy ammo here, there's going to be heavy ammo again. Get your friendly to finish the champion and move on to the final phase of the boss, where there will still be champions spawning, so be mindful before you melt him. Defeat him, and all that glorious loot are going to fall on the right hand side of your screen. And I believe this week is Hung Jury returning to us this season, which I'm actually really excited to try and get a few. With that, that is the end of the video. This one was a little longer, so I'm going to keep the outro really short. So I hope you found this video informative, very useful. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I hope you all have a good week.